Okay, today we're going to be making lazy cabbage rolls in the pressure cooker. So first of all, what you want to do in a frying pan, take around a tablespoon of butter and saute a large onion and cut it up to about the size of that for those pieces.
Oh, right over the frame.
What to do is take and put a little bit of water in with the onions to start with. It just helps break them down, and so that they won't like burn and stick to the bottom right away. So put a little bit of water in there.
And we don't want these onions to be caramelized, right?
Right. It's not that
For the
important.
cabbage rolls, we just want them to be soft.
Soft, yes. And what I'll do is then I will put a lid on that. It's burning my eyes. Yikes. Okay. And that will help that out. Okay, now let's just check on that and see how it's working. And it's going good. Okay, while that's cooking, what you can do is pressure cook the cabbage so it'll soften up. What we'll do is we'll take a cup of water, and that's pretty typical of pressure cooking, that you need basically a cup of water. Yeah, any less than that. Okay, well, it doesn't really evaporate out there, but it works the best. Then you take your half a cabbage that you have poured out, and you just plunk it into your pressure cooker. Okay, and it doesn't really matter which way you have it around in there. It should be okay. Okay.
With the grate in there still. Don't forget to put the grate in.
The grate's in there for sure. Good point. Okay, take your pressure cooker, seal the lid, make sure that your seal's down everywhere. Now plug this in. Okay, and on this one, the highest temperature is right here for stews, and then what we'll do is we'll put it to 15 minutes, and then it'll cook for 15 minutes, and then we'll let it sit for about 10, and then we'll take out the cabbage. So there it's off, it's preheating that right now, and that's good. Okay, so what we've done is we've pulled the onions aside off the heat there, and we're letting it cool. And when they're completely cool, you can start working on your hamburger meat. So what we've got here is a ½ pound of pork and a ½ pound of beef, and that's about proportionally the size they look. Okay, now what we're going to do is put a 1/3 cup of rice in there.
Uncooked.
Uncooked rice. That's good point.
Easy breezy.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a 1/3 cup of rice. Bingo.
Well done.
Okay, thank you. And then we're going to take 1 tablespoon of paprika, and you can use either smoked paprika or the regular paprika or Hungarian paprika, whichever one you want. Okay, this just happens to be
We like
smoked.
the smoked one.
Yeah, and so there we go. 1 tablespoon of that. Okay. Now, just salt and pepper to taste, kind of, just sprinkle a little on there. You don't have any ingredients or the volume for that. Same thing with pepper, just sprinkle some pepper on there.
It doesn't need as much salt because of how much vinegar is in it.
That's correct. So that's about the right amount of salt and pepper. And then what we'll do is we'll put in our cooled onions.
Because you don't want to add hot onions to raw ground meat. It starts cooking and keeps a wrong temperature for food safety.
There we go, that's in. Now we will mix that mixture up.
We like the gloves because then your fingers don't feel all gross. Plus, it's obviously a little bit more sanitary, but
But
Mark probably washed his hands 15 times
Yeah.
before we started the video.
exactly. And I've done it without gloves on, but I didn't feel like getting
It's
that dirty
nicer.
today. Yeah.
It's a nicer feeling.
Yeah. Okay, so then we just incorporate all that thoroughly.
But not overdone because we don't want it to be too gluey. Right?
So yeah, basically, and we fold that in. Smelling good.
And then we let that sit for a little while. That the meat is cold, so it's going to be fine sitting out for the next 10 or so minutes while we're waiting for the cabbage.
Okay, and that's the mixture.
Beautiful.
Perfect. Okay, so what we've done now is we've cooked it for 15 minutes on high heat, and we let it sit for 15 minutes. We'll take and release the pressure, if there is any, and after that. So there was a slight bit there, okay? It's mostly naturally released, which is fine. We take and open the lid. If the lid's hard to move, it's still got pressure in there, so keep that in mind. Okay, now this is looking good.
Let's see what it looks like.
Look in there.
Ooh, look, it looks good. It's
Yeah,
soft.
you see that pieces come apart very
Nice.
easy?
Perfect.
Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll take that and we'll put it in a bowl, like so. Okay. Now what we'll have to do is we'll have to let that cool so that we can rip the pieces
You
off.
want to then
individually.
flip it upside down again so it gets more air in it to cool faster.
Okay. Certainly do that.
Cool it for about 10 or 15 minutes so we can, because we have to do the rest by hand.
Right. It's just a touch. That's all. That's the only reason you're cooling it now.
Look at how beautiful that is. All that brown stuff in the middle is just because it's cooked. Don't worry about that. It was bright green when we put it in.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is layer up and make the cabbage, the lazy cabbage rolls. Now, what we've done is taken the cores out of the cabbage. Okay, so this area here, that's all the cores.
We just cut little triangles out where it just is the most fibrous part that's too hard. And then we got left with all of this delicious goodness.
Right, so what we're going to do is you take the screen out of your pressure cooker, okay, and you leave the water from the cabbage in there. That adds a little extra flavor.
So it's only like half a cup or
Yeah,
something
there isn't
that's
much
in
in
there.
there.
Just leave it all in there.
So now what we'll do is we'll put in a layer of cabbage.
How about I gotta go on the other side of you?
Okay. You don't have to be too fussy here. It's just basically a light layer on the bottom. One cabbage stick like that will be good. And then what we're going to do is take our sauerkraut. Okay. Sprinkle that over top of the cabbage.
We're only using a half of this jar of sauerkraut total.
You want more of a layer on the bottom, and the flavor kind of percolates through the whole bit. Okay, and that's about right. First layer of cabbage. Start laying some hamburger meat out. Okay. Okay, so what you want to do is put half of your hamburger mixture on top of that sauerkraut and press it down with a spoon So you get a nice, fairly nice even layer, like so. And when that cooks, that's going to puff up a bit because that rice will absorb the moisture.
But you're not jamming it down. You're just pressing it.
Pressing it down.
Firm, but not caked.
That's correct. Okay. Now, we'll just put another layer of cabbage on there.
Watch the artist at work. There's lots of cabbage. You don't need to be shy.
No, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go.
Sauerkraut next, maybe?
Betcha.
All right.
This layer can be a lot thinner with the sauerkraut. Not too much sauerkraut on this layer.
This is the last layer of sauerkraut, right?
Yeah.
So just to make it half a jar.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the meat, the same way?
Same way.
All right.
Okay, now we have our hamburger meat pressed down on top of there. So we'll just do one more layer of cabbage. Like I was saying, you don't have to be too fussy with the cabbage.
Just gonna cut it up anyway.
Yeah, I'm just gonna cut it up. We'll do a couple layers on the top and give it a little extra cabbage on the top. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Lots of cabbage here, but I don't want to put too much on the top. That's plenty of cabbage on there. Okay, so now we take our 1/4 cup of vinegar and we just can pour that right over top of the whole works. Then what we'll do is we'll add water, and the water level should be just below the top. So we'll pour that on there. Push down on it. Okay, see how that comes up there? It doesn't take a whole lot. I'll go just a tiny bit.
You need enough to cook all that rice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there. Okay, so we'll call that good.
So it's just at the level of the meat, just pushing on the cabbage.
Exactly, you can see it's right there. That should be good. Okay, now we'll put our lid on. Okay, and make sure you're sealed. And then we're going to cook this for 20 minutes on the high heat. And an update on the cabbage, we found that 20 minutes for the cabbage works great also. 15 minutes was a little too short. There we go. 20 minutes cooking time, then 20 minutes of sitting time, and it should be good.
Sitting time, we mean with the pressure on.
That's correct.
Okay, stay tuned. See you in 40 minutes. 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes with the pressure on.
After 20 minutes of cooking time and 20 minutes of release, we'll check it, see if there's pressure. There's no pressure in there. And I'm saying release, I mean natural release. It slowly gets rid of the pressure. We'll take the lid off. We'll look in there. What's it look like? Look good?
Yum!
Yeah. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll check it and see if it's tender. Because if it isn't, we can always put it on for a little bit longer. But that's cutting nicely there. That's pretty darn tender. That's nice. So we can cut a piece out of here. Nice. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
There you go.
Look at that beautiful, beautiful cabbage roll.
Oh yeah. That looks
Yeah. Very nice. Happy New Year.
nice. Yeah, Happy New Year.
Okay.
Okay, so anyways, that was our cabbage roll experience today. Pressure cooking. Turned out pretty good, hey?
Turned out amazing. Hope
Yeah.
you enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're gonna be tasty. But lots of ketchup on it, I
Oh,
say.
ketchup.
And some
ketchup.
salt. But
And we will take all the feedback about our video making skills because we're learning.
okay, talk to you later. Bye.